Hi everyone, this is XC Beskov. Evolutionary psychology is an interesting field to discuss. Over the last few months, I have followed a lot of debates on this subject and participated in some of them. The last one being James' video, Creationist Thinking, to which I am now replying. I would like to start with saying that I agree with pretty much everything in this video, except for one thing, which I will return to in a little while. The basic premise of his video is the same thing I was talking about in a video a long time ago, where I said that there are three basic things we need to understand in order to understand reality. It is that the universe exists, the universe is not a conspiracy, and the universe does not revolve around any specific person or group. James is focusing on this last part, particularly that the universe does not revolve around you. Just because you have a need for something to be true doesn't mean that it is true. And I would like to add that just because your daddy told you something and you trust him, that doesn't matter. The universe does not revolve around your dad. You can assume that he was honest, but that doesn't mean that he was right about everything. He might seem very important to you because he's your dad. And this goes for the extended thing as well with your entire culture. And yes, this includes Western culture. Western culture isn't automatically right, but choosing between cultures, deciding that one is right and one is wrong, that's a false dichotomy. All cultures have problems. What I'm trying to say here is that we need to keep looking for ways to expand our actual understanding, gaining a more nuanced perspective and discarding old prejudices, not just finding ways to justify what we already believe to make ourselves feel comfortable and patting ourselves on the back. In my previous video about evolutionary psychology, also called EvoPsych, I criticized how this concept is often used. I claim that while EvoPsych can be a good way to generate hypotheses, it very easily becomes just dogma and circular reasoning. And I still think that this is a very common problem. However, I found something really interesting in the debates that followed. I started watching the Stanford University channel, and I really recommend this channel. I will link it in the low bar, as well as Judean channel, which I also recommend. Stanford's channel have a lot of long academic lectures on all kinds of subjects, and James talks about various things that are interesting to him and me. And if you like my channel, there's a good chance that you like his as well. Our interests overlap quite a bit. But anyway, in this particular lecture, and I will try to find this lecture and link it specifically in the low bar, they came into something that I would call social EvoPsych. And this is a concept I find very interesting. It is about the evolution of memes rather than genes. The idea that without genetics being involved at all, ideas can evolve through natural selection in the social environment. Whatever things, the things that get popular are the things that have potential for getting popular. I will this go very well hand in hand with Foucault's ideas about discursive struggles and so on. I will look more into this. I find it very interesting. Another thing that I will get into is Dawkins' book, The Extended Phenotype. I haven't read this book yet, but after watching you, James' latest video, I will definitely watch it. Read it, I mean. And here we comes to the one thing I really disagree with in your video, James. I'm not talking about the entire book here. I'm talking about your quote or paraphrase from the book about beavers. You say that this is the same thing as creationist thinking, and I totally disagree. For you who haven't watched his video yet, Joe James brings up this thing about beavers building dams, which Dawkins claimed that this is biological evolution applied to the social environment. And Joe James, I think this theory is scientifically testable. I don't say that we should test it. We have to think about the ethical aspects as well. But the thing is this: learning can be done on a genetic level or on a social level with interaction between individuals. And we do know that monkeys can learn through social interaction. In other words, monkeys have culture to some extent. I don't know about beavers, but hypothetically, and again, I'm not saying that we should do this, it could be too much cruelty to animals, but what we could do is to isolate some newborn beavers, let them grow up without parents, and then repopulate. So we get some beavers that have grown up with parents, but in an artificial environment, the chain has been broken. So they can't have learned to build dams. They can't have learned that from other beavers. And now we put them back in their natural, in an environment like the natural environment, and see if they start building dams. Then we can see if this behavior is socially learned or genetic. And if it is genetic, then it has come to pass through evolution, the regular evolution, not the social EvoPsych was talking about, but regular evolution. I mean, the basic problem of EvoPsych applied to humans is that it disregards culture. It assumes that whatever culture was popular at one particular time and place, specifically USA 1950s, is eternal and universal, which it is not. Speaking of which, I strongly recommend Hannibal the Victor 13's series of videos on this subject. I will link them in the low bar as well. What Hannibal shows is that culture is very diverse. If these specific ideas about EvoPsych applied to humans were true, then it wouldn't be that way. So, all in all, I'm looking forward to reading the extended phenotype when I get around to it. The things I just said, they are not about the book itself, they are only about this thing that you said, James. So, that's all for this time. Live long and prosper.